Hi, I'm Antoinette Marie Desai. I'm a clinical nurse educator, and I'm the program director for the new graduate nurse residency program at Shirley Ryan AbilityLab. What inspired me to become a nurse? I actually spent most of my childhood wanting to be a doctor, and I was fortunate enough to be in a high school program that required you to do a job shadow. Naturally, I shadowed a physician, and during my job shadow day, I noticed that whenever the physician had a question about the patient or needed something to change with the patient, it was the nurse that the physician turned to. And I noticed that we spent a lot of time seeing a lot of patients, but it was the nurses who were spending their time establishing relationships with the patients and doing things to make them feel better. So ever since that day, I've made it my goal to be a nurse because that was what I strived to do. I wanted to make relationships with people and talk to them and help make them feel better. Care, lead, inspire, repeat. The one that speaks the most to me right now is the word inspire. In my career, I've been so fortunate to have a bunch of little moments that created so much awe and inspiration. They inspire me to do better and to be better, and then they inspire me to not only be a better caregiver, but also to be a better mentor and leader for my colleagues. In the end, when you have the pandemic or uncertainty or fear, it's those little moments of inspiration that you cling on to and that help give your career meaning. And I'm always hoping for this next generation of nurses, for them to have their own moments of inspiration, whether it's with their colleagues or with their patients, and for them to draw from those moments when times get rough. So for me, the word that sounds with me the most is inspire. One moment in my nursing journey that I'll never forget happened one day when I was working on the floor. I worked on a traumatic brain injury unit, and we had this young girl come in. It was a really sad story. She had a very severe traumatic brain injury after a motor vehicle accident. She was actually an international student here studying at university, so she didn't have any family or friends here. Her parents flew in immediately and were here 24/7 helping to care for her, and there was a language barrier, but we used the resources and the interpreter services, everything we had available to us to provide care for this patient, and for me to guide the parents through why they're seeing these changes in their daughter and what they can do to best support her in her healing. Well, one day, her father comes running out of the room screaming, "Anne, Anne!" And of course, I thought the absolute worst. I had just come out of a different patient room, so I go sprinting into the room. I'm ready to do something drastic like compressions. This man, he came running out and he was sweating and frantic. I get in the room and the patient was in her bed looking at a photo with her mother, and she was actually saying "mom" for the first time since her accident, and she was saying it in their language. The patient was speaking for the first time and showing that she understood that her parents were with her for the very first time since her accident. And her mom was sobbing, her father was sobbing, so obviously now I'm sobbing, everyone is crying. And this moment, we just stayed together, and that connection I felt with that family and that breath of look at the great things that we can do when we work together, and look at how amazing our patients are and how they recover from these really severe accidents. That moment will stick with me for the rest of my career, I'm sure. I care for myself while caring for others by setting limits for myself. For a good portion of my career, I was in graduate school full-time and working full-time. Firstly, I actively recommend against doing this. Really evaluate how you want to spend your time, because at that time, finding work and life and school balance was really difficult. But through it, I picked up one practice that I still practice today. I identify a day every week, usually Saturdays, that are me days, and I spend those days doing whatever it is that I need to do for myself. Sometimes I sleep extra, sometimes I play with my son, sometimes I get a lot of cleaning done and get a lot of chores and to-do list items done. But whatever day that is, I use it to fulfill whatever I need to do for myself. Something about nursing that people who aren't nurses often overlook is exactly how much we do any given day. Nurses are more than just putting on a Band-Aid or hanging up fluids or sitting at a computer. Nurses are the biggest advocates for their patients and for their colleagues. We are the eyes and ears of the physician. We are there at the patient bedside 24/7, doing things to make them feel better and feel comfortable and feel included in their plan of care. Nurses are champions of safety and they're problem solvers. If there's an issue on the care unit, the nurse will not stand by and let this cause harm to their patient. They will speak up and they will offer solutions and they will follow up and ensure that we are providing the highest quality care possible for our patients and pursuing the highest possible outcomes for our patients. Nurses are more than just a soothing touch or someone that you look to when you're scared. Yes, that's a big part of what we do, but we do so much more behind the scenes, and I think that often gets overlooked.